Carl Jung, 7 signs that you are about to begin the best stage of your life. As Carl Jung once said, your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakes. Today, on Spiritual Wisdom, we're exploring the 7 signs that you are about to begin the best stage of your life. These insights aren't just ideas. They're practical principles you can apply every day to find more clarity, happiness, and growth. Have you noticed shifts in your own life that hint at a new beginning? Share your experience in the comments below. I'd love to hear your story and perspective. Sign 1. Questioning old truths. You don't question everything because you're lost. You question everything because you're finally being found. The thoughts that once brought you comfort now feel too small for your expanding spirit. The beliefs that once guided you like constellations now flicker uncertainly, no longer pointing you toward fulfillment. This isn't a breakdown. It's a breakthrough that begins quietly, an unsettling curiosity, a sacred unrest that whispers, there is more than this. And though it may begin in confusion, it always leads to clarity. This inner unraveling doesn't come from rebellion or anger. It arises from a holy silence deep within. You start to sense that the identity you built was crafted from survival, not truth. What once defined you, your career, your family role, your ambitions begins to feel like scaffolding around a soul that's ready to breathe freely. The mind resists, clinging to familiar logic, but the soul yearns for what's real. And so, piece by piece, the illusions fall away, not because you are failing, but because you are awakening. Carl Jung referred to this inner dismantling as a symbolic death, a necessary process of the psyche shedding its masks so that something truer can emerge. This death isn't the end. It's a sacred rite of passage. As your goals collapse and your values shift, what's actually happening is spiritual purification. Everything that is not aligned with your essence must be released. The life you built while you were half asleep cannot contain the fullness of who you are when fully awake. This spiritual clearing strips you bare. You may feel exposed, vulnerable, even lost. But what you are truly experiencing is rebirth. You are learning to walk through life without armor. You are being prepared to live from intuition, energy, and soul-aligned truth rather than fear, conditioning, and external expectation. In the void left behind, you'll begin to sense the magnetic pull of something deeper, something that calls not to your mind, but to your vibration. That is the law of attraction at work. Your energy is rising, even when your emotions feel heavy. There may be days when the disorientation makes you question your sanity. But what's really happening is that your soul is rewriting its agreement with life. You are no longer willing to settle for stories that shrink you. You are stepping into alignment, into the vibrational truth of who you were always meant to be. You are choosing authenticity over approval, inner peace over performance, divine alignment over societal validation. And that's why this moment, painful and uncertain as it may be, is holy. Every unraveling is sacred. Every collapse is coated with potential. This is how you begin the best stage of your life, not by constructing a new version of who the world wants you to be, but by clearing away everything that is not truly you. You are not falling apart. You are falling into the truth. If you're experiencing this inner unraveling and feel the sacred shift within, comment below. I release old truths to awaken my real self. Let this be your affirmation and your invitation into deeper clarity. Sign 2. Disconnection from your former self. You start to notice that the world you once found familiar no longer feels the same. The people you used to laugh with, the routines that once felt grounding, and the small pleasures that used to bring comfort now seem distant, almost like echoes from another lifetime. Conversations that once flowed now feel forced. Gatherings that once sparked joy now feel energetically off. It's not that something outside of you has shifted, it's that you have. What you're experiencing isn't confusion. It's the early ripple of inner transformation. Something deep within is pulling you forward, and the old world cannot come with you. This sensation of disconnection can feel heavy at first, almost like grief. But it's not the kind of grief that comes from loss. It's sacred grief, the mourning of the version of yourself that played roles to survive, conformed to expectations to belong, and wore masks to stay safe. Carl Jung called this process individuation, the shedding of false selves, in order to uncover the one true self beneath it all. This isn't about improvement, it's about revelation. The roles you once wore, overachiever, fixer, good girl, provider, caretaker, begin to slip away. Not because you failed them, but because your soul is no longer willing to shrink to fit them. And yet, this sacred unraveling can feel disorienting. You begin to question your identity. Who are you without these roles? What matters when external validation fades? Even your sense of time may shift. Days blur. Silence deepens. There's a hollowness that appears between what used to be and what has not yet come. You are in the in-between, the cocoon phase. And though it is silent, it is far from empty. Your higher self is rearranging your life from the inside out, gently, wisely, irreversibly. A woman once told the story of how she reached a point in her journey where even her favorite song, one that used to make her dance in the kitchen, suddenly sounded flat. The friends she used to call daily no longer understood her silence. Her job, which once gave her purpose, now felt like an energetic mismatch. She thought she was falling apart. In truth, she was falling inward. Her nervous system was recalibrating. Her spirit was realigning. What she once called numbness became the space where something new could finally take root. This stage of detachment is not a collapse. It's a cleansing. What you are losing are not pieces of yourself, but pieces of your conditioning attachments that were never yours to carry. This isn't abandonment, it's sacred release. When the soul is ready to evolve, the personality must soften its grip. That's why certain relationships drift. That's why some dreams dissolve. That's why what once excited you now feels irrelevant. The divine is editing your story to match your next chapter. And though no one may see the silent work happening inside you, your spirit knows the truth. You are remembering what the world taught you to forget. You are reclaiming the self that existed before fear, before shame, before performance. The ache in your chest is not emptiness. It is expansion. You are making space for the life that aligns with your soul, not your programming. That disconnection? It's a bridge, a holy gap between what was and what's destined to be. Let the discomfort come. Let the detachment guide you. You are not meant to stay the same. Growth requires a departure. The best stage of your life will not arrive with noise or applause. It begins here, in the quiet undoing, in the sacred loneliness. in the radical act of no longer pretending? Are you feeling the pull to release your old self and step into who you truly are? If this resonates, comment below. I choose authenticity to affirm your commitment to this sacred transformation. Sign 3. Reevaluating meaning. The titles you once worked so hard for no longer excite you. The achievements you proudly displayed now feel like echoes of a version of yourself that no longer fits. Even the praise and approval from others, once a source of validation, has lost its flavor. This isn't a sign that something is wrong. It's a sign that something deeper within you is waking up. You're no longer willing to live just for appearances, for gold stars, or for applause. You crave something more real, more nourishing to the soul. You start to look inward and wonder, what truly fulfills me? What kind of life would feel alive from the inside out? These questions aren't signs of confusion. They are signs of growth. Your soul is calling you back to its original truth, and for the first time, you are listening. The shift doesn't always come with a grand announcement. Sometimes it begins quietly. You find yourself no longer interested in conversations that once entertained you. You begin to sense the shallowness in relationships where depth never existed. There's an inner nudge, a persistent feeling that says, this isn't it. There's more. Carl Jung once observed, thoroughly unprepared, we take the step into the afternoon of life. But we cannot live the afternoon according to the program of life's morning. You are now stepping into that afternoon. What sustained you before is no longer enough. You don't just want to live, you want to live meaningfully. This is not a breakdown of your direction. It is a rediscovery of your compass. As you realign, you may find certain people slowly fading out of your life, not because of arguments or drama, but simply because your energy no longer matches theirs. Conversations start to feel strained. Old friendships feel like clothes that no longer fit, and that's okay. When your vibration rises, anything not aligned with your new frequency will begin to fall away. The universe isn't punishing you, it's making space. The right people, the ones who mirror your depth and speak your soul's language, will begin to appear. They won't need explanations. They'll feel like home. This stage of reevaluating meaning can feel lonely at times, but it is profoundly sacred. It's in this silence, this stripping away of distractions and false identities, that you finally meet yourself. You discover that peace was never in the achievement or the applause. It was always waiting quietly inside you. And now, you are becoming still enough to hear it. You stop chasing and start aligning. You stop performing and start being. The world might not understand this version of you, but for the first time, you do. You no longer need to explain your decisions to anyone. You no longer need permission to follow your soul. There is a quiet power in this knowing. It's the beginning of the best stage of your life, not because everything outside of you is perfect, but because everything inside of you is finally real. If this message resonates with where you are on your journey, leave a comment of faith. I trust my inner compass is guiding me to true fulfillment. Let your words be an affirmation of the deeper meaning unfolding in your life. Sign 4, awakening of intuition. Something within you begins to shift. You no longer feel the need to explain every decision with logic or justify your instincts with evidence. A quiet, inner voice grows louder, not in volume, but in clarity. What once seemed like subtle hunches now speak like sacred instructions. This is the beginning of your intuition awakening. It doesn't shout. It doesn't force yet somehow. It overrides the noise of the world. When you start living from this place, you are no longer navigating life through external maps. You are being led by an inner compass that aligns with divine truth. You begin to make choices not from fear or pressure, but from resonance. You feel drawn to certain people, places, or opportunities without always knowing why. There is no spreadsheet that explains it, no checklist that validates it, but your body knows. Your spirit knows. That pull in your chest, that tightening in your stomach, that lightness when something feels right, all of it becomes data in a new kind of wisdom system. One rooted in energy, not intellect. One guided by spirit, not survival. You notice that your sensitivity to subtle cues increases. The words people don't say begin to matter as much as the ones they do. You sense energy shifts in rooms. You detect misalignment without needing confrontation. You begin to feel when something is off, even if it appears perfect on the surface. And instead of second-guessing yourself, you honor that awareness. You stop outsourcing your decisions to others. You realize that no one outside of you has access to the blueprint written in your soul. The advice of others, once helpful, now feels like background noise compared to the rich, vibrating truth within you. The soul does not speak in linear language. It speaks in symbols, sensations, and sacred silence. Intuition becomes the translator between your human self and your divine path. The more you trust it, the more magnetic your life becomes. People, events, and synchronicities begin to flow into your world, not because you're chasing them, but because you're aligned with your essence. And that alignment is powerful. It reorders your reality. You begin to see how trusting your inner knowing opens doors you didn't even know existed. This awakening is a reunion with your own inner wisdom. You realize you've never truly been alone. There's always been a quiet intelligence walking with you. It speaks through the pauses, the stillness, the dreams that won't leave you. It's the voice that says, "This is not your path," even when everyone else says it is. It's the force that gently but firmly redirects you when you try to settle for less than you deserve. It is the truth of who you are, unshaken, untamed, and deeply connected to divine guidance. In this state, clarity becomes a feeling, not a conclusion. You stop analyzing so much and start listening more. You pause before making decisions, not out of hesitation, but reverence. You allow space for the answer to rise from within. And when it does, it comes with peace. Not excitement, not adrenaline. Peace. That calm knowing is the marker of your new path. It is how your soul says yes. As this intuitive power deepens, your energy changes. You no longer entertain confusion. You no longer force what doesn't flow. You no longer pretend you don't know what you know. You stand in the quiet fire of your awareness and let it burn away anything false. And in its place, your truth rises, fully, clearly, unapologetically. This is the language of your next chapter, one that doesn't demand to be understood by others, one that only needs to be trusted by you. If this message awakens something within you, follow your inner guidance and subscribe for more spiritual insights on trusting your intuition and living from your soul. Your inner wisdom is speaking. Don't ignore it. Sign 5. Longing for true growth. A sacred fire begins to rise inside of you. And it's not the kind that seeks applause or shallow improvement. It's a deep yearning for true transformation. You're no longer satisfied with cosmetic changes or motivational fluff. You want the real thing. This longing isn't about adding new layers to your identity, but peeling them away. You're not interested in becoming someone else. You're finally ready to return to who you've always been. What stirs in you now is a hunger for expansion that goes far beyond the surface. You're beginning to feel that growth is not about accumulation, but remembrance. The kind of growth you're entering doesn't feel glamorous. In fact, it often feels raw and quiet. You start seeking wisdom instead of validation. You begin to look at your wounds not as scars to hide, but as sacred symbols of survival and initiation. Your trauma no longer defines you. Instead, it refines you. The more you understand your pain, the more you see how every difficult moment has shaped the soul you carry now. You no longer chase healing as a way to fix yourself. Instead, you see healing as a path to integrate the truth of who you are. Carl Jung wrote, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." You understand this now in your bones. You don't want to escape your shadow. You want to work with it. In this season, everything starts shifting. You stop asking, "What can I achieve?" and start asking, "What can I release?" You stop performing. You stop pretending. You stop over-explaining yourself to people who were never meant to understand you. You feel an inner shedding, like autumn trees letting go of their leaves, not because they are dying, but because they are preparing for a stronger bloom. The same is true for you. You are shedding old roles, outdated beliefs, and false versions of yourself that were created only to survive in a world that didn't see your essence. Now, your soul is done surviving. It wants to live. And that living begins with purpose. Not the kind that's broadcast for status or praise, but the kind that anchors you in peace and pulls you toward meaningful impact. You no longer ask, "How can I succeed?" but rather, "What am I here to serve?" You begin to feel the quiet certainty that your mission is sacred. It may not make sense to others, and it may not follow a linear path, but it feels right. You don't need a map. You have a compass now. That compass is your inner alignment. That is the true north of your soul. Take, for example, a man who spent 15 years building a career in finance. He had the house, the car, the reputation, but he was deeply empty. One day, while volunteering at a local shelter, he realized something. Helping others brought him more joy in one day than his entire career had in years. He eventually left his high-paying job to create a program that helps at-risk youth learn financial literacy and emotional resilience. He didn't just change careers, he remembered who he was. That moment of awakening wasn't an accident. It was the sacred fire answering his inner longing. This is what your soul is craving. Not more, but less. Not noise, but truth. Not performance, but presence. As the layers fall away, what remains is real. What remains is holy. You are not here to decorate the cage. You are here to fly out of it. And that flight begins when you trust the call for authentic growth. This stage of your life won't be about chasing what you should be. It will be about surrendering to what you already are. Growth is remembering. Growth is releasing. Growth is returning. And the longing you feel right now, it's sacred. It means your best stage is already unfolding right here, right now. Now, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and feel the fire of true growth within you. You are not here to perform, you are here to become. Repeat after me. I release who I am not. I remember who I truly am. Let this be your sacred affirmation. Sign 6. Releasing toxic ties. You no longer feel at home in the places you used to, and the people you once tolerated now leave you feeling drained, uneasy, and disconnected. That's not just discomfort, it's evolution. You're beginning to see with clearer eyes. Toxic ties, whether they come disguised as friendships, family expectations, romantic entanglements, or even internal habits, no longer hold power over you. What used to feel familiar now feels foreign. What used to feel necessary now feels like a weight you can no longer carry. And this shift isn't something you can explain to others who haven't begun their own transformation. It's something you feel in your body, in your spirit, in your silence. Carl Jung once said, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain." That pain you feel when releasing what once felt so intertwined with your identity is not punishment, it is purification. You are not rejecting anyone. You are finally choosing yourself. What you're letting go of is not love. It's obligation masquerading as loyalty, comfort built on your self-abandonment, closeness built on trauma bonds. The truth is, the most sacred act of self-love is to stop dancing with what makes your spirit shrink. This isn't the kind of transformation that makes a loud announcement. It arrives quietly. You may start declining invitations, distancing yourself from familiar voices, or sitting in the stillness of your own company. You may start journaling your truths instead of arguing them. You may find your nervous system relaxing around people who expect nothing but your presence. These are all signs that you are returning to your natural rhythm. Your body knows. Your intuition knows. The release is the evidence. As you create this space, something divine begins to happen. You attract new energies, people who see you without projecting onto you, who speak the same unspoken spiritual language, who understand the value of silence, depth, and authenticity. They don't drain you. They mirror your peace. They honor your path. And when they appear, you won't feel the need to explain yourself, to filter, or to shrink. You'll just know. This is resonance, not resistance. This is flow, not force. Still, the shedding will come with grief. You'll grieve the parts of yourself that tolerated too much. You'll grieve the dreams you had with people who couldn't come with you. You'll grieve the false peace of pleasing others. But that grief is sacred. Let it come. Let it wash through you. Because on the other side of it is a quiet joy, a freedom you've never tasted before, a new chapter that doesn't require pain to prove your worth. When you stop clinging to toxic patterns, you stop delaying your blessings. When you reclaim your energy, you create space for divine alignment. This is not just about walking away. It's about walking towards something higher. Your healing, your truth, your real life. Not the one shaped by old wounds, but the one designed by your soul. And the moment you choose that, everything begins to change. Not all at once, but beautifully, surely, and with power. If this message resonates with your heart, repeat after me. I release what no longer serves me. I reclaim my energy. I trust the new connections aligning with my truth. Type it in the comments to affirm your breakthrough, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more soul-aligned wisdom. Sign 7. Detachment from the old. you begin to feel a quiet shift, one that doesn't announce itself loudly, but moves through your life like a soft breeze clearing the dust. People, habits, and even dreams that once held weight in your heart begin to feel distant, like echoes of an old version of yourself. But this detachment isn't born of resentment. It isn't cold. It's clarity. What once consumed your emotions no longer holds power because you've outgrown it. The conversations that once excited you now feel draining. The routines you used to cling to for comfort feel limiting. It's not because life is becoming empty. It's because your soul is expanding, and anything that doesn't match your new frequency naturally fades. You start noticing how familiar things lose their meaning. The comfort of the known gives way to the pull of the unknown. And it's not a loss. It's a sacred subtraction. Just like a tree releases its leaves in autumn, you're being prepared for a deeper blooming. You are not being stripped down to suffer, but to make space. There is no need to force things to stay when your spirit is ready to rise. You sense this. What's being removed is not punishment, it's alignment. It's the universe saying, this no longer serves the next version of you. And somewhere deep inside, you know it's true. There's a peace in this process that others might not understand. They may ask why you're pulling back, why you seem distant, why you're no longer invested in what once defined you. But you are not escaping. You're returning. You are not avoiding life. You're re-entering it from your truth. You are no longer chasing approval or belonging from places that never saw your soul. The need to explain, to fix, to hold on, it's all dissolving. And in that empty space, something sacred is forming. It's not about abandonment. It's about rebirth. Your detachment is an invitation to rebuild with intention, to connect from wholeness, to walk forward with lightness. The heaviness you once carried was not yours to hold forever. Now, you choose peace over pressure, silence over chaos, depth over performance. This is your soul's way of saying, I'm ready. And it happens not in one loud moment, but in many small ones. When you say no without guilt, when you walk away without needing to be understood, when you finally honor what feels right, even if no one claps for it. The best stage of your life isn't marked by external success. It's marked by internal alignment. And detachment from the old is not an ending, but the sacred beginning. What falls away now is not a loss, it's liberation. You are not less than you were. You are becoming more of who you truly are. To affirm your release of what no longer serves you, declare your freedom. Comment below, I choose alignment, to honor your journey back to your true self and inspire others to embrace sacred detachment with peace and clarity. And as you move forward, remember that the best stage of your life isn't waiting in some far-off future. It begins the moment you choose to embrace growth, trust your path, and honor the wisdom within. If today's message spoke to you, don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who needs this encouragement, and subscribe to Spiritual Wisdom. Make sure to turn on the notification bell so you never miss our upcoming videos filled with guidance and insight. Your journey is unfolding beautifully. Stay tuned, because the best is yet to come. 10 clear signs you are a spiritual healer. Carl Jung once said, "Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakens." In this video, we're exploring 10 clear signs that reveal you are a spiritual healer. someone whose presence alone can bring peace and transformation to others. These are not just ideas to listen to. They are principles you can apply in your daily life to nurture personal growth, find happiness, and share healing energy with the world around you. As you reflect on each sign, I encourage you to ask yourself, which of these resonate most deeply with your own journey? Share your thoughts in the comments because your story may inspire someone else who needs to hear it. And if you're ready to embrace your path as a healer, let's dive into this together. Welcome to Spiritual Wisdom. 1. You're sensitive to crowds and energies. Spiritual healers carry within them a gift that often feels like both a blessing and a burden: heightened sensitivity. They are not passive observers of life. They absorb energies, emotions, and unspoken feelings as if they were their own. When they enter a crowded space, they don't just notice tension or sadness. They feel it in their bodies, sometimes as fatigue, fogginess, or even physical symptoms like headaches or nausea. What others dismiss as being too sensitive is actually a sign of intuitive intelligence, an inner radar tuned to the hidden frequencies of the human spirit. This ability to sense the unseen is not weakness. It is profound spiritual perception, a doorway into wisdom that most people never touch. Because they constantly pick up on the vibrations of others, solitude becomes vital for healers. Quiet is not just an escape, it is a sacred medicine. Silence, stillness, or the sound of leaves rustling in nature become sanctuaries where their nervous system can finally exhale, where their spirit can release the weight it has carried from others, and where their own energy can recalibrate. Without these retreats into stillness, the healer risks being swept away by emotions that were never theirs to carry. This is why practices such as meditation, mindful breathing, or even simple walks in nature are not hobbies, but lifelines, ways of protecting the soul's alignment in a world that demands too much. Throughout life, healers are often misunderstood. They are told they are too emotional, too quiet, or too fragile. Yet these very qualities are what allow them to notice what others overlook. They can sense suffering that is never spoken, grief that has never been expressed, and even anger that hides behind a smile. Their presence often soothes others without words, offering a safe space for pain to soften. But this gift requires protection. Boundaries, self-care, and energetic hygiene are essential, not optional. Without them, the healer's light can flicker, drained by constantly giving without replenishing. Protecting their energy is not selfish. It is survival, the very thing that allows them to continue offering healing to the world. What many label as being overwhelmed is actually a deeper spiritual awakening. When a healer feels exhausted after social gatherings or suddenly weighed down by unexplained sadness, it is their soul signaling that too much has been absorbed. The body speaks where the conscious mind may not fully understand. Paying attention to these signals is a form of wisdom, a reminder that energy must be preserved in order to serve its true purpose. Recharging is not laziness, it is preparation. Just as a musician must rest their hands to create music again, the healer must rest their soul to channel light once more. To embrace this truth is to honor the calling. Sensitivity is not a flaw, but a compass pointing toward one's spiritual purpose. In a society that numbs itself with constant noise, healers remain reminders of what it means to feel deeply and to live with awareness. By valuing their solitude Protecting their energy and respecting their gift, they allow their power to grow stronger. And when they affirm their truth, I honor my sensitivity. I protect my energy. I trust this message is meant for me today. They step fully into the role the universe designed for them. Carriers of light in a world that often forgets how to see. 2. You've been through deep pain or trauma. You have been through deep pain and trauma, yet instead of destroying you, it has awakened something powerful within. Childhood wounds, betrayal, abandonment, illness, or even near-death experiences were not accidents. They were part of your soul's preparation, a sacred training ground shaping you into who you are now. Carl Jung once said, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain, and each heartbreak you endured sharpened your sensitivity. Every storm you faced cracked open your compassion, and every scar became a seed of empathy and wisdom. Unlike most, you don't just recognize suffering, you feel it deeply in others, even when no words are spoken. And that is why people instinctively feel safe in your presence. They sense you truly understand, not because you studied it in a book, but because you lived it in your own soul." Spiritual healing is not about perfection or being untouched by hardship. It is about what you choose to do with the darkness you've known. Where others collapse under the weight of suffering, you transform it into light, insight, and peace. This is not a talent. It is your calling. You don't need to fix people with quick solutions because your very energy becomes the medicine they need. You've walked the path from brokenness to breakthrough, and because of that, you radiate healing without even trying. While most run from pain, you have learned to sit with it, to face your shadows, and to make peace with them. That is why you can now guide others through their own struggles. You don't lecture, you listen. You don't force change, you hold space for it. And that is what marks a true spiritual healer: the ability to remain gentle in a world that tried to harden you, the choice to stay kind when cruelty wanted to make you bitter, and the courage to rise from the ashes again and again, proving that what looked like an ending was in fact a beginning. This is not weakness, it is strength in its purest form. You have become a channel for grace because you allowed your pain to be transformed into wisdom. The very experiences that once threatened to break you are now the reason you can help others heal. Your scars are no longer wounds, but symbols of sacred power. Your survival is no longer just survival, it has become purpose. And that purpose draws people to you without effort, because your life itself is living proof that healing is possible. You don't need credentials or titles. Your soul already knows the work it came here to do. Every hardship has been shaping you, preparing you to carry light for those still walking in darkness. Without words, you bring peace. Without effort, you offer comfort. Your presence alone becomes a reminder that spirituality is not about escaping pain, but about transforming it into growth, wisdom, and purpose. That is why others feel drawn to you, because through your story, they see that they too can rise. So take pride in your journey and let your scars shine as evidence that beauty can emerge from brokenness. If you are ready to embrace that power, declare it boldly: "My pain has a purpose." In doing so, you remind yourself and others that spiritual development is never wasted. Every wound becomes a doorway to healing, and every struggle holds the seed of transformation. 3. You've experienced a dark night of the soul. You've walked through the darkest corridors of your soul, where everything seemed to collapse, and life itself felt stripped of meaning. It wasn't just sadness. It was a profound unraveling, a night where your very identity dissolved into shadows. But from within that void, something powerful began to stir. You started to feel more deeply, sense energies more vividly, and awaken to dimensions you never knew existed. That suffering became the soil of transformation, and within it, the sacred gift of the healer was born. As Carl Jung once said, "In all chaos there is a cosmos, in all disorder a secret order, and your chaos carried the seed of your calling." The journey of a healer is never written in comfort. It is forged through wounds, echoing the archetype of the shaman across cultures. Shamans were not chosen for perfection, but for the depth of their pain, because pain itself opens doors into unseen worlds. Illness, despair, and loss strip a person of everything false, leaving only truth, awareness, and power. Your own story mirrors this timeless pattern. What you endured was not a random misfortune, but a sacred initiation, awakening an intelligent spiritual wisdom that allows you to see into the heart of suffering and guide others through their storms with compassion that cannot be faked. In modern times, such awakenings are often misunderstood. Society may call it depression, burnout, or fragility. But what if your breakdown was your soul breaking open? What if what looked like collapse was actually alignment with your true path? Healers are often chosen through fire. Their trials become the refining flames that sharpen empathy, deepen compassion, and awaken inner knowing. As Jung reminded us, there is no coming to consciousness without pain. That pain was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to shape you. Think of Anna, a young woman working tirelessly in a hospital. When she lost her child, her grief shattered her world. She withdrew, questioning everything she had once trusted. Yet in the silence of her despair, something new emerged. She turned to meditation, energy work, and holistic practices. Her hands, once trained for medical routines, began moving with intuitive grace. Her voice carried healing. Her presence radiated peace, and her sorrow transformed into strength. Through her own healing, she discovered a power greater than she had ever imagined, the ability to heal the souls of others. When you've survived your own darkness, you carry a rare gift. You don't fear shadows anymore. Instead, you hold space for others to walk through theirs. You don't rush to fix, but you listen with depth. You don't flinch at pain, because you recognize it in another's eyes as the reflection of your own. That is the essence of being a healer, not a certificate, not a title, but a truth etched into your very soul. Healing flows not only through your words or actions, but through your very presence, a living medicine that transmits light and safety without needing to be explained. Your trauma, then, was never meaningless. It was an activation of your destiny. It carved out space within you for greater love, deeper wisdom, and infinite compassion. The wound that once brought you to your knees became the doorway through which your purpose entered. By choosing to step through that doorway, you accepted your calling. You are not merely surviving, you are radiating healing through your story, your energy, and your silent strength. Jung said, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. And when you do, your wholeness becomes a sanctuary for others." If you face the night and now feel the light rising again, No, it is no accident. This is your path, your purpose. Comment below. I rise with purpose to affirm your awakening and inspire others to step into their own light. 4. Your presence lifts others up. Even without saying a word, your presence brings peace to others. You walk into a space, and suddenly, people feel a little calmer, a little lighter. It's not something you try to do. It simply happens. You radiate an energy that shifts the atmosphere, making others feel safe, supported, and seen. This isn't about being the loudest voice in the room. It's about the silent power you carry, the kind that reaches people on a soul level. People may not always be able to explain it, but they are drawn to you. They confide in you. They feel lighter after spending time near you. And often, they leave your presence without the emotional heaviness they came with. It's as if your energy helps them breathe easier, even if you don't say a single word. You're not necessarily giving advice or solutions, you're simply being, and your being is healing. This is the quiet essence of a true spiritual healer. Your ability to soothe others likely stems from your own personal journey. You've faced hardships. You've walked through emotional fire and emerged with compassion as your language. And now, without effort, that compassion extends to others. You hold space for people in a way that allows them to be vulnerable, to release pain, to feel understood without needing to explain themselves. You don't push them to heal. You create an energetic environment where healing naturally unfolds. It's not uncommon for people like you to be mistaken as merely good listeners or easy to talk to. But it goes deeper. Your energy is a sanctuary. Being around you feels like coming home warm, accepting, and peaceful. The emotional clarity others gain isn't from your words, it's from your presence. You absorb what's heavy and radiate what's light. And often, you do it without even realizing it. There's a reason the soul chooses to express healing, not just through action, but through presence. A spiritual healer doesn't need a stage. They just need to exist fully and authentically. As you move through the world with this gentle strength, remember that you're playing a vital role. Your presence uplifts not because it's loud, but because it's real. And in a world so often full of noise, your quiet energy speaks volumes. If your presence brings peace to others, it's a sign of your inner light. Don't forget to subscribe for more insights on how your quiet energy can be a powerful force for healing in this world. 5. Deep connection with nature. Those who carry the gift of spiritual healing are never separate from the living pulse of the earth. When you step into the quiet of the forest, you are not walking among trees. You are entering a temple where every branch is a prayer and every leaf is a hymn. The ocean does not simply sparkle. It speaks, sending ripples of wisdom into your soul. You feel peace in the whisper of the wind, clarity in the crash of waves, and renewal in the silence of mountains that have stood for centuries. Nature is not a backdrop to your existence. It is the rhythm of your soul itself. You sense its energy in ways others cannot. The subtle electricity before a storm stirs an ancient memory inside you. A sunrise carries a message of renewal, and the soil beneath your feet radiates the healing you seek. Even in your dreams, you are drawn to untouched landscapes, to rivers, forests, and open skies, not to escape reality, but to return to simplicity, to truth, to the essence of who you are when the world's noise fades into stillness. In these sacred spaces, you are not simply resting, you are remembering. You are returning to the earth's frequency, where your energy flows in harmony without resistance. That is why crowded places may feel heavy, why the artificial glow of city lights leaves you restless or drained. Your soul was never meant to be confined within walls of concrete and noise. It was born to breathe with the trees, to move with the tides, to rise and fall with the stars. Because you are attuned to something ancient, your body naturally responds. You crave sunlight, not just for warmth, but because it nourishes your spirit. You walk barefoot, not for comfort, but to ground your energy deep into the earth's core. You feel drawn to herbal remedies, to the scent of rain, to the silver glow of moonlight, not out of preference, but out of recognition. These are not hobbies. They are signals, signs of a spiritual memory awakening, reminders that you are walking a path you have walked before. This connection is more than intuition. It is confirmation. It reveals that your soul carries the vibration of healing, and nature is the tuning fork that keeps you aligned. When you carry this harmony within you, others sense it. They may not understand why, but in your presence they feel calmer, lighter, more balanced. That is the quiet strength of someone whose spirit is synced with the earth. Your energy restores without words. Your presence heals without effort. Carl Jung once said, "Knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darkness of other people. And when you are rooted in the wisdom of nature, you embody this truth. You understand that healing is not about control, but about alignment, not about force, but about returning to the flow of life itself." The lesson is clear. Your bond with the natural world is not random, and it is not weakness. It is your greatest gift. It is one of the clearest signs that you are a spiritual healer, carrying a calling that extends beyond yourself to touch the lives of others and to help restore balance to the earth itself. So honor the pull you feel toward the forest, the waves, the stars, and the open skies. Listen when your soul longs for silence, for rivers, for mountain winds, because in those moments you are not escaping, you are stepping into your truest frequency. Carry this awareness with reverence. Let it shape your spiritual development, and never doubt the power of your presence. If this truth speaks to your soul, affirm it now. I feel the healing power of nature flowing through me. I am one with the earth, and peace surrounds me. 6. Extreme emotional sensitivity. Empathic abilities. Extreme emotional sensitivity is one of the most undeniable signs that you are a spiritual healer. For you do not merely notice when someone is upset, you embody it. You feel their pain in your chest before they have spoken a word. When heavy energy enters the room, it strikes you like a sudden storm. Yet when joy appears, you receive it as though the sun itself were pouring into your soul. You are an emotional antenna, tuned to frequencies others cannot hear. And this sensitivity is not weakness, but sacred intelligence, spiritual wisdom that allows you to walk into hidden depths of the human heart. People gravitate toward you because around you they feel safe, accepted, and understood without explanation. Strangers open up their lives, and friends confess things they never planned to share. This is not coincidence. It is the quiet magnetism of your gift. What some call too sensitive is in truth the greatest instrument of healing. For your emotions function as a diagnostic device, pointing you toward wounds carefully hidden behind smiles. You carry the warmth that turns coldness into comfort, the silent presence that allows another soul to exhale. As Carl Jung once said, knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darkness of other people. Your sensitivity is the doorway through which light enters where pain once lived. Still, such openness is not without burden. Crowds overwhelm you. Conflict feels like thunder shaking your bones, and even the nightly news can leave you weary. You have likely wondered why you feel so much, why the world weighs so heavily on your shoulders. But this intensity is not a curse. It is your compass, guiding you toward those who need your light the most. It is through this gift that you sense what others cannot articulate, and in that sensing, you offer hope before words are spoken. Consider Alina, a young woman working in a busy cafe. Her duty was to serve coffee, yet her deeper purpose could not be measured in transactions. One day, a man came in with a polite smile, appearing whole on the surface. But Alina felt something trembling beneath his facade, a despair too quiet for others to notice. As she placed his cup in his hand, she gently whispered, "Whatever it is, it will pass." In that instant, his eyes welled with tears. Days later, he returned to tell her that those simple words had kept him from making a devastating choice. She had done nothing dramatic. She had simply allowed her empathy to speak. That is the unseen miracle of a spiritual healer. To heal without trying. To save without announcing. Your gift is not loud, not flamboyant, but subtle, delicate, and powerful in its silence. In a world that prizes hardness, your calling is to remain tender. For tenderness is not fragility, but strength in its purest form. Your emotional sensitivity is your compass, your radar, your sacred tool. To honor it, to protect it, to wield it with wisdom, is to step fully into who you were meant to be. Carl Jung wrote, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." And who you are is not just a feeler of pain, but a healer of hearts. Let this truth settle within you. Your sensitivity is not your weakness, it is your superpower. It is the light you carry into a darkened world, the softness that mends what has been broken, the presence that allows others to feel human again. Protect it, embrace it, and use it as the sacred gift it was always meant to be. If this resonates with your soul, let it be known as the comment below. My sensitivity is my superpower. In doing so, you are not only claiming your gift, you are shining your light so that others may have the courage to embrace their own. 7. Vivid and spiritually significant dreams. Vivid dreams that carry spiritual weight are often not just the mind wandering, they're portals. People who are natural spiritual healers tend to be strong dreamers, not because they sleep deeper than others, but because their souls remain awake and alert even in the unconscious state. These dreams are more than just images. They're experiences. During the night, many healers visit the astral plane, a dimension beyond the physical where time bends and the soul can roam freely. In these spaces, they meet spiritual beings, ancestors, or guides who pass on subtle but powerful messages. These encounters don't just feel real, they leave emotional imprints and deep clarity, often offering direction or answers that the waking mind had been seeking. Such dreams often contain messages from the higher self, signs from the universe, or glimpses into the future. Sometimes, you may find yourself dreaming about places you've never visited, but that feel hauntingly familiar, or interacting with beings who speak in symbols rather than words. The body sleeps, but the healer's energy is still in motion, processing, sensing, and absorbing. Many of these dreams come right before or after major shifts, healing crises, awakenings, or transformations, because they're meant to prepare, warn, or empower. One may wake up with a strong sense that something needs to be done or changed, without being able to logically explain why. That is spiritual intelligence in motion. When you carry healing energy, you also carry a frequency that aligns with the subtle realms. This means your spirit becomes like a radio receiver, tuned in to higher wavelengths. That's why these dream experiences feel different from regular dreams. They don't vanish upon waking. Instead, they linger, pull at your attention, and reveal new layers of meaning as the days go by. Some even return in patterns or cycles, as if spirit is asking you to pay attention to a lesson you've missed. If your dreams bring healing to your emotions, offer insights you couldn't possibly know, or simply feel like they're more than dreams they probably are. For spiritual healers, these nighttime journeys serve as training grounds. You may be taught how to move energy, how to forgive and release pain, or how to prepare for the next stage of your soul's purpose. Even if the images are symbolic, the healing is real. In fact, many spiritual healers experience physical or emotional shifts after such dreams, waking up lighter, crying without explanation, or feeling drained after a battle that only happened in the astral world. It's because the healing work continues, even while the body rests. When dreams become bridges between dimensions, when sleep becomes a sacred classroom, and when messages flow through images rather than words, this is a sign you are deeply connected to the spiritual world. It is also one of the clearest signs that you are a spiritual healer, even if you haven't yet fully stepped into that role. Have your dreams ever felt more like messages than mere sleep stories? If you've received spiritual insights or powerful visions in your dreams, share your experience in the comments below so others can be inspired. If you haven't explored this realm yet, comment, "I'm ready to receive," and open your heart to divine guidance tonight. 8. Deep compassion and the urge to help others. You feel it in your chest, the sharp ache when someone else is hurting, even if they never say a word. Their pain becomes your pain. You don't just sympathize, you internalize. This is not weakness. It's the unmistakable signature of a spiritual healer. You were born with a heart that refuses to look away, a soul that cannot stay still in the face of suffering. The need to help others isn't a choice. It's a calling etched into your very being. But this gift, as sacred as it is, demands wisdom. Without it, your compassion can become a trap. You may begin to believe that love means sacrificing your well-being. You might start bending over backwards for others, losing yourself in the process. This is how natural-born healers can fall into patterns of people-pleasing and emotional codependency. You give so much of your energy away that you're left depleted, quietly breaking under the weight of others' wounds. Still, there's a way to serve without surrendering yourself. Take Jessica, for instance, a school counselor with an instinct to care for every troubled student. She once met Mia, a girl who never spoke, never smiled. Instead of trying to fix her, Jessica simply sat beside her each day during lunch. No pressure, no expectations, just presence. Weeks passed. Then one day, Mia whispered, "I feel safe with you." That moment didn't require grand gestures. It was the silent power of grounded compassion. Jessica's ability to hold space, not just offer solutions, became the healing force Mia needed. This is the quiet mastery of a spiritual healer. It's not about rescuing people or absorbing their pain. It's about radiating peace, being a mirror of safety, and understanding that sometimes the most powerful healing comes from simply being there. True healers know when to pour in and when to pull back. They learn to protect their light while still offering warmth. They understand that boundaries are not walls. They're sacred containers that keep their energy clean, focused, and effective. As Ram Dass said, "You can do it like it's a great weight on you, or you can do it like it's part of the dance." To heal wisely is to embrace the dance, to move with grace between caring deeply and standing firmly. To realize that you are not here to carry everyone's burdens, but to remind them that they can carry their own. So if your heart breaks open for the hurting, if your instinct is to reach out, to soothe, to restore, then yes, you are a spiritual healer. But never forget, healing flows from overflow, not emptiness. Your compassion is your power, and your boundaries are what make it sustainable. If this message speaks to your soul, take a deep breath and repeat after me. I am a vessel of compassion, guided by wisdom and protected by healthy boundaries. 9. People open up to you instantly. People seem to open up to you without hesitation. Within minutes of meeting, strangers begin sharing their deepest fears, heartbreaks, and life stories. They don't know why, but you do. It's your energy. You carry a calm, healing presence that feels like sanctuary to those who are hurting. It's not what you say, it's what you are. You are safe. You are grounding. You are light. This is not random. It's a sign that you are a spiritual healer. People sense that you won't judge them. You listen with your whole being, not just your ears. Your silence is comforting. Your gaze is kind, and your spirit feels like home. Like wounded birds finding shelter in a tree during a storm, broken souls come to rest in your energy. They feel seen without having to explain. They feel heard even before they speak. This is your gift and also your challenge. Because when you carry such a strong healing vibration, people will come to you over and over again. They may not always give back what you offer. Their pain might become your burden if you don't learn to protect your energy. As much as you want to help everyone, you must remember this truth. You can be compassionate without being consumed. You can be open without being emptied. You are not here to save everyone. You are here to remind people they can save themselves. Your path as a healer is not just about comforting others. It's about learning balance. Spiritual healing begins with self-awareness. You must learn to ground your energy, shield your spirit, and release what isn't yours. Breath work, visualization, prayer, silence, these are your tools. Not just to serve others, but to sustain yourself. Because if you burn out, your light dims, and others need that light more than you know. This ability to attract openness from others is a sacred responsibility. And when you understand how to carry it wisely, you stop absorbing pain and start transforming it. You become a mirror, reflecting strength back to the wounded. You remind them of their power, not by fixing them, but by being fully yourself. That's what makes your presence healing. That's what makes you a true spiritual healer. To affirm your role as a safe space for others, declare your intention to protect your energy while offering light. Comment below, "I hold space with grace," to honor your gift and inspire others to do the same. 10. Need for solitude to recharge. Being around others constantly drains you, not because you don't care, but because you care deeply. As a spiritual healer, you are highly empathic, absorbing not only words, but unspoken emotions, subtle energy shifts, and silent wounds that others may not even realize they carry. This intense sensitivity makes solitude not a luxury, but a lifeline. When you're alone, you're not escaping the world. You're returning to yourself, finding balance after being stretched by the energetic weight of others. Solitude becomes your sacred space to reflect, to reset, and to release everything that is not yours. It is here, in the quiet, that your soul breathes. Without the background noise of others' emotions, you can finally hear your own thoughts, reconnect with your inner guidance, and remember why you are here. This is not isolation. It is alignment. It is not loneliness. It is spiritual clarity. In these moments of stillness, you feel God closer, your energy clears, and your mission as a healer becomes more focused. Empaths and spiritual healers often operate like energetic sponges, soaking in the moods and vibrations of everyone around them. Left unchecked, this constant exchange can lead to fatigue, emotional confusion, or burnout. That's why time alone is essential. It is how you cleanse, how you recharge, and how you protect your sacred frequency. In solitude, you create energetic boundaries that allow you to serve without losing yourself in the process. This is the wisdom of self-preservation, not selfishness. Many people might not understand your need for space. They may label you quiet, distant, or even cold. But deep down, you know that this space is where your power is reborn. It's where you recalibrate your energy so you can return to the world not just present, but empowered. You are not meant to carry everyone's weight endlessly. You are meant to guide, not absorb. Solitude helps you discern that fine line. The more you honor your need to retreat, the stronger your intuition becomes. Divine guidance flows more clearly when you're not distracted by external noise. Your energy field strengthens, your heart stays soft, and your purpose becomes unshakable. In solitude, you are not alone. You are surrounded by peace, truth, and the sacred frequency of your soul. That's why solitude is not only your refuge, it's your resurrection. And so, the journey of discovering the signs of a spiritual healer is not just about recognition, but about embracing the sacred responsibility that comes with it. Remember, as Carl Jung once said, "Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes." If today's message resonated with you, let it be a reminder that your awakening is not accidental. It is a call to step into your purpose. Thank you for spending this time with us. If you found value in this video, please like, share, and subscribe to Spiritual Wisdom. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss our upcoming insights on spirituality and spiritual awakening.